Imagine walking through a frozen wasteland in the dead of night. The sky is a deep, endless black, only broken by faint flickers of northern lights. Snow crunches beneath your boots. The air is so cold, every breath feels like shattered glass in your lungs. But what if, in this desolate wilderness, you stumbled upon a village that was once alive, bustling with families, only to find every soul gone? This is the story of Anjikuni Village, the Canadian settlement that simply disappeared. In November 1930, a fur trapper named Joe Labelle was trekking through northern Canada. He knew the land well: treacherous ice, lonely trails, and the rare warmth of Inuit villages where he'd sometimes stop. That night, cold and weary, Joe made his way to Anjikuni Lake, a place where he had always been welcomed before. He expected firelight glowing from the huts, children's laughter echoing faintly, maybe even the smell of cooking meat. Instead, he saw only darkness. The village stood silent, the snow untouched. No dogs barked, no smoke rose from chimneys. It was as if the entire village was holding its breath. Joe entered the first hut. Inside, he found a stew pot simmering gently, but the fire was almost dead. Clothing and weapons still hung neatly on the walls. Snowshoes leaned against the door, but there were no people, not a single voice, not a single footprint leading away. In another hut, a half-sewn jacket lay across the floor, needle and thread still in it, as though someone had been working and simply vanished mid-stitch. The more huts Joe searched, the colder his blood ran. Behind the huts, Joe found the village's sled dogs, but they weren't alive. The dogs were tied to posts, starved to death, their bodies frozen stiff. And yet, why hadn't the villagers freed them before leaving? It made no sense. The night grew eerier. Joe swore he saw shadows moving between the huts, but every time he turned, there was nothing. Just the wind howling across the empty snow. Trying to make sense of it all, Joe wandered to the small graveyard on the edge of the village. There, his lantern light caught something horrifying. The graves were open. The ground, though frozen, had been dug up. Coffins lay empty, but there were no footprints, no shovel marks, just open graves in the ice. Joe's heart pounded. He backed away slowly, and that's when he noticed something else. The sky above the lake was glowing. Strange blue lights shimmered across the horizon, not like the northern lights he'd seen before. These moved deliberately, circling, pulsing, almost alive. Some say Joe described them as saucers in the sky. Others believe they were spirits. But that night, alone in a village of ghosts, Joe Labelle was sure of one thing. He was being watched. He heard whispers, faint voices carried on the wind, though no one was there. The hair on the back of his neck rose as he felt something brush past him in the dark. Terrified, Joe fled into the snow, stumbling blindly through the forest. Behind him, he swore he heard footsteps following, crunching softly in the snow. But when he spun around, the trail behind him was empty. It took him hours, maybe days, he would never remember clearly, to reach a telegraph office and report what he had seen. When police finally arrived, they confirmed the worst. The villagers of Anjikuni were gone, completely, forever. Since then, countless theories have tried to explain the disappearance. Some say the villagers were abducted by aliens. The lights in the sky were their ships. Others claim a curse fell upon the land, dragging them into another realm. Skeptics argue it was all a hoax, an exaggerated tale in the newspapers. But none of these theories explain the half-cooked food, the empty graves, or the dead dogs. To this day, no trace of the Anjikuni villagers has ever been found. Not a body, not a single clue. The lake remains frozen and silent. Travelers say the huts still stand, abandoned and eerie. And sometimes, just sometimes, if you stand alone in the snow, you'll hear the faint cries of children, the barking of dogs, and see strange blue lights dancing in the distance. The village of Anjikuni didn't just vanish. It's still there, waiting.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel for more interesting stories.